One of the interesting things that I've kind of come to realize is there's this weird thing with folks where they resist accepting the reality that they have to do it. Okay, they resist accepting the reality that smoking cessation, walking away from smoking forever, it's almost like they want it to be something that's going to happen to them, right? Like it's going to happen to them, not that they're going to go do it. And even just saying that now, because I see folks walk through this in private sessions, like the reality still doesn't really sink in, even when I say it now for them on a live video or something. It's very intriguing, but and then they're terrified of the cravings and the withdrawals and all that. It's like they just don't think they can handle it, and it's I think part of that is because they want this to go away, kind of. I don't want to say magically, but they sort of want it to, they don't want to have to do it. Oddly enough, the moment they really truly accept that reality, the stuff gets easier for them. And I am fascinated by this phenomena. It's like the moment they're like, no, I have to actually do this. Okay, now I get it now. Like it might be a while. I might have to hit that point with them five, six different ways, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right, I do have. But once they accept that responsibility, it's almost like something shifts. And I wonder, I don't like to get too theoretical because I like to be very practical. I actually work with people, not theoretical models, and, things like that. Um, but I do have a hypothesis, I guess you'd call it, or just blind speculation, really, that it's almost like the unconscious mind says, "Oh, now you get it. Now you really accepted it that you have to do this now. I don't have to make this as painful for you, right? I can't prove it. It just seems, working in that kind of way with people. So it's a weird conclusion I've drawn. And conclusions are dangerous. So they took away swiping the comments to make the thing bigger. That's dumb. All right, well, let's get through some stuff here. Hello, freedom. I quit last year, though. Hey, that's good. I need help, but now is a bad time. Yeah. Hey, that's okay, Brenda. I come on a couple times a week, 2, 3 times a week. Usually, I try to do live videos. If anybody wants to work with me one on one, there's a link in my bio. And what we would do there is we'd actually just talk through a program. And then I would say, hey, if you want to work, it's going to cost this much. And here's something that I think really puts people's mind at ease. It's incredibly rare that I'll let somebody sign up during a strategy call. Like I almost always, you have to really twist my arm. I'm like, no, I want you to take a few days because we're going to trigger emotions. You're going to get excited. You're gonna look at the problem differently, um, and that's great, right? I'd probably lose quite a bit of money doing it that way, but I would rather have you come to this without any blinders on and with a full appreciation for the work we're gonna do, right? I mean, and it's I like to deal from that pretense of reality. Yeah. Plus, it's like awkward if you've been on a call like that. Someone's like, "Okay, buy now today," right? You're like, "Well, I don't really want to do that, man. I want to think about it." So that might put people's mind at ease. But if you don't show up to the call and you book it, I'll block you. So don't do that. What else do we got here? I'm not a prisoner. That's a beautiful statement. Yeah, it's because I'm not a prisoner anymore. Some folks say it's like one of my buddies, Kevin, who does fantastic smoking cessation work. He says, it's like walking out of the prison that I had created for myself, right? Because he was really struggling for a while. I think that's a fascinating statement. Oh, a lot of times, folks, the unfortunate thing is they wind up just destroying their dreams one pack, one smoke, one puff at a time for years and years and years. I want to get free of it. Like, I don't know if you saw one of the most recent testimonials I put up. It was like a lady that, she quit smoking, and the exciting part was now she can take her business on the road. Right? Before that wasn't an option because she'd smell bad. Right? Nobody wanted to have her show up at an event. Oh, it's cool. I love hearing that. That's the most exciting part, right? Sometimes I feel like I don't emphasize the symptom of smoking as a problem enough. And that's not good because that's where people are stuck. But just what excites me the most is hearing about all the other ways that this benefits them. Like things they wouldn't even have expected. It's pretty cool. Good morning. My husband still smokes. Good morning. Boho girl. My still smokes and it stinks. Yeah. Kathy Rankin. I really need help. I get advice. Well, advice isn't going to work, Sassy. Yeah, this is a good. I'm glad you said this. This is a beautiful comment. I really need the help. I get advice that just doesn't work. Yeah, advice isn't, you're not a piece of advice away from quitting smoking, right? You're probably not a piece of advice from doing anything challenging. So kind of what we were talking about before, accepting that reality, that's very hard for folks a lot of times. So it's almost like if I just get this one trick, people say, "Well, what are the tricks and tips?" I'm like, there's none. The best one I can give you is stop looking for them. Right? Is the work has to be done inward. You know, that this is my take on it, and that's why I think we're really successful with people. It's because we're just not operating off of pretenses. And look, let's do a quick demo here to kind of explain it a little bit better. So okay, if you want to quit smoking, just comment me, right? Just comment me. BJAC. You can kind of get a sense of it here. And sassy. If you're the only one, that's fine. Hopefully we get more than one person so we can get a little bit of variance so I can illustrate the point. Okay, we got a few people here. Beautiful. Brenda. Okay. What happens when you say to yourself, what kind of feelings, thoughts, images come to your mind when you say, I'm never going to smoke again? What happens when you say, I need to quit smoking, I have to quit smoking? What kind of feelings and images, thoughts, whatever come up to your mind? Because we got fear. What comes up for sassy is I'm dying of COPD. I cry and get anxiety for the weight I'm going to gain. Yeah. So we've got a pretty small sample size, and even with a small sample size of individuals, we've got four different answers. Smoke more. Yeah. So now, if I were to assume I understand what this problem means to you as an individual, based off of some training I did, which I've done all of them. It's everyone's heard me talk about that a bunch. There's a good chance I would miss what's important to you. What happens when you say to yourself, I choose to quit smoking. I'm going to make a choice. This is my choice and I choose to quit. What feelings come up for you? Be honest. Just go inward for a minute. Thoughts, feelings, images. What comes to your mind? I choose to quit smoking. Looking in the comments. Trying to quit very hard now. Empowerment. So, okay, there's a shift for Brenda. That I'm 2 week. Yep. For sassy. Empower. Finally in control. So you see how with the change of one question, or sorry, one word really, and in the question, we've got a completely different outcome. How on earth could I predict that? That's why I believe in the individual responding to the individual versus me I don't know. If you went and saw a hypnotist, they might have you close your eyes and read a script at you or do some technique. How will they know that's going to work for you though? Because you're unique, right? And there's going to be some clusterings of data. There's going to be some overlap with individuals, but you never want to assume that's, therefore you have there's going to be best practices you can use. But ultimately the best practice is again, to respond to you and your needs. So that's why tips and stuff are, I think they're a perfectly reasonable and rational way to start this process. Looking for information, trying to get educated. Just unfortunately, all the sites say the same stuff, right? So for example, you go type in how to quit smoking, you go to a website, it's going to tell you to set a quit date. If you go study research on quit dates, you'll find that there's maybe one that suggested they were helpful. They've actually done comparisons. They've had two groups. One group, both groups had NRT in counseling. The group that was spontaneously told to quit on a day far outperformed the group that had a quit date, right? And if you think about, okay, well, what's going on here? If what's in your mind is I have to quit smoking, I need to quit smoking, and you're sassy and you're feeling fear, you're having anxiety, you're smoking more, all that, right? What's the other one? Weight gain. If this is what is in your mind, and now your quit date's 6 days away, 5 days away, 4 days away, you're thinking, oh God, I only got a few more days left to smoke. This is terrible. I can't even do this thing. right? Then so now, how on earth are you going to have the emotional resources to do this if that's what's in your mind, right? The quit date is a countdown to like a death sentence. It's the idea of like deny, like you're stepping into a space of deprivation, right? So what if we ask this question? And we'll circle back to that. What if you asked yourself, what comes up for you when you say, you know what? I get to quit smoking. It's not that I never have to smoke another day in my life. It's not that I never get to smoke another day in life. It's like I never have to smoke again. I can free myself of this. I can do the work. I'll deal with it in the short term. I'm going to get free of this. What comes up for you when you say that to yourself? You know, I get to quit smoking. I get to quit. I should have cleaned my desk before doing this. Yeah. Oh, Iron Bagel Fear. Yeah. Hope for Brenda. Yeah. I feel empowered. Save money, smell better. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Smell comes up twice. What about sassy? When you say, I get to quit smoking. Yeah. I never looked at it like that. Of course. I knew that from your second response. It's okay. Yeah, get to quit smoking. What comes up for you, Sassy? Take your time. Just take your time. Your mind's doing stuff already. And so, see, like, circling back to the idea, if your quit date is about denial, deprivation, hey, I never get to do this again, it's different than if it's freedom, opportunity, it's empowerment, it's hope, it's all the other things that folks are experiencing that are positive. And like this is just we're just doing kind of a silly exercise here to kind of get your idea around or get your mind around. Okay, like here's I get a sense for how my mind works. Um, so does that kind of answer your question? I can't remember the person he asked. How do you teach people to quit? I do very little. Your mind teaches you how to quit. I just kind of guide it through a process rapidly. Sometimes, sometimes there's the miracle solution. And I talked to one guy quit in 22 minutes. That was crazy. I don't know that I'll ever have that happen again. And honestly, the whole time I was lost. I didn't think we were getting anywhere. And then, and then one question hit, and yeah, it was gone. And then I started testing his face off. I tried to make him smoke in front of me, right? Because I just didn't believe it. I told him, I don't believe you. I think you're still going to smoke, right? I was just hammering him that he wouldn't smoke. He's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't want to talk anymore. I was like, all right, cool. We'll hang up. So that's kind of a weird situation. So I think like, yeah. So what am I getting at? So yeah, at the end of the day, it's really about the individual, right? And what they need. Some people take forever, 2, 3 sessions. Then they're finally like, okay, I got it. And some people quit up the first one, but they just need that support because look, it makes sense, right? Like sometimes people have this problem for 30, 40, 50 years. And like, well, that's a bad example because that guy had smoked for 50 years. But some people it just takes a while to process for them. That's okay. So that's why I like to work with what's real versus like, here's my modality for teaching you to quit, right? I don't. It would be a guess, really. And folks will say, How long will it take? And again, I just don't like to deal with guesses. I like to deal with what's real. I think it's a disservice to you. Um, I mean, yeah, I don't know. So hopefully that gives a little bit better sense of what's going on. Vaping to quit. Yeah, vaping is interesting. I'm still convinced at the moment that it's physiologically slightly better for you. As a smoking cessation tool, there isn't really any success. There isn't a lot of success around it, right? It just doesn't appear to do much. Um, but it's not for me to judge, it's just based off the data that I've seen. And I won't go into harmful effects. If anybody wants to look up like vaping, type in like neuroscience. Oh, somebody booked a call. Hey, what's going on? I don't want to say your name because we'll protect the privacy. Did I just go away when I swiped down like that? I don't know if anyway. I swiped down to check out the who filled it out. It was cool. Yeah, so vaping. This is kind of how I look at it, right? I don't think the vape can quit for you. I do know people anecdotally that have used it, right? They've reduced their nicotine dosage and they walked away from it. But I don't think the patch and the gum and you even look at Shantix, right? This was a big deal for folks. I got so many messages about Shantix. Folks saying, dude, like this thing, my doctor just prescribed it to me. Now it's off the market. It's been recalled. And they were panicking about it. And when you look at the data though, like the British Medical Journal or just a bunch of studies about this, it's like for every 10 people that use Shantix, a year later, two of them quit. But in another group where they gave the placebo, one person quit. So it's only one better than the placebo. They're like, this isn't that effective. And I'm not saying there isn't a place for these things, for chemical interventions. But the reality is, I don't think this is just a chemical problem, right? There's a mental piece to this that's far more important. Because some people, they get an insight and they think they quit cold turkey, but they're really just looking at the problem differently, or they've just exacerbated it enough. Like I talked to a fellow this weekend. I just happened to run into him, and he had quit about a year before I started doing this work. And I said, "Well, what happened?" He goes, "I was just kind of sick of it, man. Like I just didn't want to do this anymore. I hurt my Achilles. I was playing hockey. The doctor said if I quit smoking, my Achilles will heal up, right?" Like that's cold turkey to a point, but really that's more like warm turkey, isn't it? He had a reason, and he had a belief that if he quit, he'll heal up faster. He can go back to doing something that he cared way more about than smoking. So, like, do you need these moments of insight and these realities sometimes for folks? So I forgot where I was going with that. I'm all over the place today. I get to quit. Not being forced. Yeah, what a beautiful statement, Sassy. I get to quit not being forced. Wow, that's good. I get to quit not being forced. So this theme is probably, and I don't want to like get too into Sassy's personal life here, but I would be very intrigued by that if I were in a session with her forced. I want to know more about that because that apparently is an important thing. You know, and look, everyone goes, "Oh, this is the case for all smokers." It's not, right? Some people wish you could force them to quit. They're like, dude, I just want this out of my life. Can you do it for me? And I can't. I can help you do it, right? So I don't know how I'd be. Yeah, that's a beautiful one, Julie. That is such a beautiful one. I don't know who I'd be. I've smoked since I'm 14. I'm now 55. Oh, that's juicy. That's so juicy. Maybe we'll play with that one. If I think I got about 5 or 6 minutes here. I'll have so much more time. Yeah. Yeah, people, if you smoke a pack a day, it's like what, 25 days a year people spend smoking. That's not including like walking to like if you have to go outside to smoke. I didn't calculate that because how could I know the distance of time? But just the amount of time people spend smoking, it's. Now you don't get it back all at once, right? Because it's spread out throughout the time, but it's like, what do you want to do with some of that though? It only takes 20 hours to become competent at something. So if you wanted to play the guitar, 20 hours from now, you could start playing songs just with diligent practice. This really opens up things for people. Maybe you want to do something charitable. Maybe you just want to hang out, watch TV. I don't know. But the time you get back is immense. Yeah, Chambalona 70, how to control the mood swings. What mood swings do you experience? Like what range of emotions? Is one lady I helped quit. I was a little bit intimidated to be honest with you. On the call, she had a complete and utter panic attack. And that was just a strategy call, right? That wasn't like in a session. I asked her one question and she went to a full blown attack, and I had to like, I worked her through it, and most of the work was done at that point. Right? That's the rough thing about this stuff. Sometimes it's like the intensity of the emotion. The other side of that is usually something pretty juicy, a lot of freedom, and it can change someone's whole life really. Um, so okay, I'm thinking too many things at once. Anyway, and I found out that she had really smoked for She had white knuckled it for a year, but she felt sick the whole time, like she had a flu. This is an interesting phenomena, right? Smoker's flu, essentially. She just felt terrible. She couldn't take it. I think we did 3 sessions. She was basically done after the second one, but she wanted to talk. Just through some stuff, and my goodness, it's a remarkable thing. So she talks about how it was really easy. Um, I mean, probably if you included the conversation from the strategy call, she would have been like, "Well, that wasn't easy," but like that's what came up, so we have to deal with it in the moment. And not everybody's like that, right? Not everything's like a deep trauma for folks. Sometimes it's just a habit they picked up, and they're not really sure how to let go of it. Um, so yeah, but this is fun. I don't know. Hopefully this is valuable. Yes, the mood swings. Oh, cool. So that's something here. Pick up another habit. I don't want to pick up another habit. How do you deal with anxiety? Well, I wouldn't deal with yours, right? That's a key question. Chasing my dreams. So let's kind of go into that because I think that's going to come into mood swings a little bit. And maybe I can show you guys some cool stuff here. Disables my only thing of the old me I have left. What a fat Julie. That's fascinating. What a powerful thing. Because we know logically that's not true, right? Like there's no way the only part of you that still exists from the old you is the cigarette. But the meaning around that's going to be something very powerful for Julie, right? There's a lot of meaning to that. So we would want to investigate what specifically she's talking about. Yeah, Sassy, you just go to my TikTok page. There's a little link. It says Calendly. You got to fill out a survey. Put time on my calendar. Just take your time filling out the survey because I'm going to use it during the call, and then we'll chat. Yeah, me in person, real quick. So okay, so let's do anger. Brat says I'm angry. Tried Chantix. It gave me rage issues. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll show you how to shut off rage. Let's do that one. Yeah, see, they all force, don't they, Sassy? But they can't. It's impossible for them to really do it. You know? So do me a favor. I want you to picture something that just makes you furious. So for Sassy, it might be that forcing thing. Um, uh, what's the thing that makes you the most angry? I want you to really think about that. And then just comment the number 0 out of 10, okay? This is just kind of a fun little trick, right? You can experience with anger. So 10, I'm through the roof. I'm so angry. I'm gonna lose it. 0, I'm zoned out on a beach. I have no anger. How angry can you get right now? Really try to step into it and drive it up as high as you can. And comment the number. This will be fun. 8. Cool. Good job chasing my dreams. 10, betrayal. Yeah, oof, that's brutal. Yep. Oh, it's the worst. 7. Okay, so you guys are doing a good job of associating into this. 5. Try to get a little higher, girly girl, if you can. 1976. Who else here? Okay, so we got 8, 10, 7, 5. I think folks might still be working on it. Cool, so here's what I want you to do. Just a few different things. So we're going to just trip the circuit that's between it doesn't matter. It's the feedback loop between the dentate gyrus and the amygdala. It's just this different part of the brain. And we're going to do that. 3 things, right? 3 things you got to do. Number 1, relax your jaw. Number 2, just kind of place your hands like this. Just kind of set your hands there. You can set them down here, but I'm doing it to demonstrate. So what happens is that feedback loop says, well, if you're not making a fist, you really can't be angry. So relax the jaw. Place your hands like this. Relax your hands. Slow, deep breath in. Exhale even slower. And notice what happens to that feeling of anger. Slow, deep breath in. Exhale even slower. And I'm not pursing my lips with a lot of tension in the jaw, just enough to breathe out slower. It's a little easier to exhale that way. And where's that anger at just while you're doing that exercise? Ooh, breathing like that got me a little lightheaded. I That's fun. Yeah, so from an 8 to a 1 for chasing. Chasing my dreams. All right, I guess I did in my head. Yeah, what about you, Iron Bagel, or Barb, or is it like Chambalona, I think? Girly girl. Yeah, so you're not even good at it, and you got it from a 10 to a 5. Imagine if you practiced that a couple times. So if someone really, really struggled with anger, if it was like a chronic thing, like, they felt like they had absolutely no control over it. I don't usually do a lot of like symptom work. Typically, when we untie this stuff at the core, all the symptoms go away. So like the anger around it, etc. After the processing occurs, right? The processing is the most important thing you do. So you do the work in a session, and all the juicy, fantastic stuff shows up over the next few days. This is where people are really learning a new, like to Julie's point, learning who they are. It has nothing to do with the cigarette, right? This is something that's going to show up over, usually a couple weeks typically for folks. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Um, so that's typically what we would do. But like if we were going to drill this, right? It would be okay. Think of something that makes you angry. Do the technique, right? And I have this video up where I show that technique a bunch, so it's always available for you on TikTok. It's on YouTube everywhere. So you do those three things, and you want to shut the anger off. Get angry, shut the anger off. Get angry, shut the anger off. Because when you're mad, if you're anything like every other person in humanity, you're not going to think to do a technique unless you practiced it a bunch when you're angry. Right? When you get angry, you're focused. The myth of the Cyclops, like the single eye, that actually happens, right? Your eyes actually kind of turn inward and there's a single point of focus. It's really interesting. And you become very fixated in your determination, your willpower surges. So that part of it feels good. Afterward, you feel freaking, embarrassed because you acted like an idiot in front of everybody. I've been there before. So, so it's that, and look, and there's certain times when it's perfectly reasonable to be angry. This just gives you the choice back. So you're going to practice it a bunch and condition it. It doesn't take that long, 10, 20 times, and do that over a couple weeks. The second part of the practice is do this and try to get angry. Do the technique and try to get angry. That way you can just get used to seeing how it can prevent things. And that's it. Yeah, that's what you would do. And now you got a new little trick. Just fun to show people too, right? They're like, oh, what a weird bar trick. Oh. Was this valuable, folks? Is this any good? Sassy, I'll show you how to book. And everybody else in case they want to learn how. Gonna get a weird close-up of me for a minute. 2323. What was your, I'd be curious to hear what was your biggest takeaway from what we talked about. Let me try to turn it towards my face. Let's go to TikTok. Cool. Just go like that. So here's my page. I'm going to have to show you on the laptop. Yeah, I'll actually go through how to fill out the survey too. Because there's certain things I'm really looking for. Okay, so let's see. Enhance. Flip it the other way. Cool. So here's my page. Click this. It's going to open up this little warning, even if you're me and it's my link, which is funny. So I open it up. It's a site called Calendly, and you say, oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. A lot of people book calls. Okay, cool. Jeez Louise. So on the 20th, I still got some time available. That's cool. So let's say you wanted to do 7. We'll just make it up. This is very basic. First name, last name, email. This is where you're going to get a link for the call. We're going to have it over Zoom. So, you'll get a prompt to download it. It's pretty simple. So yeah, I get it. I'll be ready for the call. We're going to talk over Zoom. I don't want you to be at the airport. And we're going to have the camera on, so I don't want you to feel embarrassed, right? Some people, it's a big thing for them. They want to make sure they look a certain way. How did you hear about me? Was it on the news, the radio? Was it on TikTok? Testimonials? What was it? Referral? I'll set a reminder, book time on my... So this is important. This is about setting a reminder. If you put time on my calendar, somebody else can't show up and they can't get that slot. They might really, really want that time. They might be ready to quit. So book the time. Are you going to join the call? No, I'm not going to join the call.
I'll give you an out right here. Or yes, I'll set a reminder. I'll make sure I'm ready for it. Are you a light smoker or heavy smoker? How much do you spend on tobacco products? Weirdly enough, so I've done a bunch of these. Folks haven't really calculated this. And I get to show you, a lot of times we'll do it on a live. I'll show you how this is way more than what you think. And oddly enough, sometimes this just gives people an additional point of leverage. Because maybe it's not the money, but maybe it's like, I could take care of my grandkids. I could get a vacation home. I could, whatever it is, right, that they want. So this is thrilling. When you think about being smoke-free, what is the one thing you look forward to the most? Take your time with this. Really consider it. What is that carrot you're really chasing? And it doesn't have to be something complex. But what is it for you that's most important? What do you feel like will be the most important thing to fix about smoking? So these are all symptoms, admittedly, right? And we're going to work at the root cause level, so it's a little different. But yeah, okay. What I'm most excited about is this one. If you check the box and write stuff, you don't have to, but sometimes people say stuff, I don't know, there's just this thing about my brother. They don't understand what it is, but it keeps coming up for them mentally. So folks that are a bit more intuitive or just used to being introspective might have an insight. And feel free to capture that here. You don't have to, again, but it's interesting, What is stopping you from overcoming this on your own? If you can do this on your own, do it on your own, right? Don't hire somebody. So let's pinpoint what this is. I don't have money. I don't have money, but I can get money. I have money, right? Really simple. I'm committed to your success. I invest a tremendous amount of resources and time in helping people quit smoking. This is absurd. I spent way more money doing this than I ever did going to college. And that's because what I do, right? I'll talk about that another time. Why do you think you'd be a good fit for working with me? So good answers to this question are you just seem honest, or I trust you, or I've watched a lot of your videos. It makes sense. Good answers might be, I'm just in a place when I'm sick of this and I feel like you could help me. You could give me the support I need to get free of it, right? Whatever that is. Bad answers are well, you say it works, right? One guy wrote that. I got to stop doing that on a live video if he jumps back on. I just canceled the call, right? You say it works. That's not, I'm saying, why do you think you'd be a good fit for working with me? This is the most important question. Because change is almost always a matter of motivation versus ability. And so I need to kind of assess where you're at right now. So hopefully that clarifies this question. And then text reminders. So I did click schedule. That time's yours. So you'll see more time available next week. I only allow people to schedule out 4 or 5 days anyway, because they'll just forget to show up. So you'll see this, and then that time's yours. I gotta hop off. Flip it back. Camera, sweet. Okay, folks, I had so much fun hanging out with you. I want to go back up to. I feel like there's a chance now. Yeah, Sassy, there is. There absolutely is. Real value. That's great. This is possible. Hey, that makes me so happy. Hey, that's great. That's great. This is absolutely fantastic. Man, this is great. I love reading these comments. That's beautiful. I'm glad. Yeah, it is possible. 1.3 million people quit every year. Just doing it differently. Yeah, I look forward to speaking with all you. Take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. How do I make this go away? Cool.